Hello, I'm Fiona Houston, and Sarah and I, a long time ago now, used to have lots of fun spending our days like the old Victorian ladies, going onto the seashore and discovering seaweeds. It wasn't just, we wrote a book, how do I get, sorry, how do I get back to the menu?
People want it. Somebody want to try this one?
Alright, I'm just going to do these randomly because... okay, so we wrote a book back in 2011 called Seaweed Neated, and it was called Seaweed Neated, a family foraging and cooking adventure. And we spent a year traipsing around the Scottish countryside discovering all sorts of wild foods, and our mission was how do you bring them back onto the menu in a way that was easy to use, easy to understand, and was delicious. So back in 2011, after the book was launched and we were having all this fun running foraging tours and had all these chefs and interesting seaweed people, so that was back in 2008, 2009, 2010, and people thought we were completely mad. Who are these crazy ladies talking about seaweed? But we knew that everywhere else, as Corey says, everywhere else in the world, everybody loves seaweed, eats it on a daily basis. We have this ancient tradition of eating seaweed, especially in Wales and in Scotland and in Ireland. So why not bring it back onto menus? So that was the idea, and we spent the last now 2017, last 9 years putting that into putting that plan into action. So what I'm going to do here is just give you excuse the IT, my marketing manager assured me I didn't have to put it in a PowerPoint. If I just numbered it, it would all work, but it hasn't. But anyway, actually. That can you do? All right. So that was our book. This is our. We also had a column in the Weekend Telegraph called Forage Rangers, which was a lot of fun. This is actually we've done at Mara we have a Crown Estate license to harvest 8 seaweed species around the coastline of Scotland. What's amazing, you've got seafood around the world from Scotland being known for its taste, its provenance, its quality, and I'm like, okay, well, if we do it for salmon and mussels and oysters, why can't we do it for seaweed? So we went to the Crown Estate and got a license to harvest in the East Nook of Fife, which is actually where I met Hattie, who I took out seaweed ID. The other thing that we tried to do, and we did do it successfully, was grow the seaweed on ropes. So there's a burgeoning industry of seaweed growing. We're currently only taking our seaweeds from wild harvest, but in the future there will be farming like there is in Japan. There will be farming around. That is sugar kelp. That's my baby sugar kelp, which we then grows into about this long. That's it. You seed the ropes and then it goes like that, which is really beautiful. That's a seaweed farm that we developed with Loch Fyne. That's in Loch Fyne, up in Argyll, north of Glasgow. This is more of the environment where we are harvesting. This is Laminaria digitata on the shoreline. It grows off the rocks. This is one of the places that we would harvest and turn it into this product eventually. This is the famous nori that we've been talking about. It looks, people describe it as a black bin kind of stuck on the rock, which is very complimentary, but you can sort of see where it goes. This is a seaweed that we fell in love with, but we're not actually currently selling because it grows this high and you have to cut it with scissors. It tastes amazing and chefs go mad for it, but just get your expectation level down. I don't have it.
There's some fresh on the plate.
Oh, there's some
Yeah.
fresh on
Yeah.
the plate. Okay. It's called pepper dulse, which is a bit of misleading because it's not actually dulse. It's called Osmundia pinnatifada, and it's a different type of red seaweed, which has got an amazing peppery, garlicky taste.
How far down the shoreline is that?
It grows in the intertidal area. It actually grows where, if you have a rock where it's the bit where the tide turns, it's there.
Sorry, could you repeat its name again?
Its Latin name,
Anything.
pepper dulse, D-U-L-S-E. Pepper dulse, D-U-L-S-E.
Which
Okay.
chefs are using it? Yeah.
It's the smoked dulse that is the one that Brett Graham and everybody's using, not the pepper dulse, because it's just, you can't put it into a modern food safety management system. It's currently impossible. We're working on it, but it's not it's for people, foragers, to find and enjoy, but it's not something that you'll find on the shelves of Morrison's anytime soon. Oh God, yes, this was a fun day we had. We've done, since we've been turned from being completely crazy into starting to sell the powers and taste of seaweed, we've had very famous visitors. That was our thing we did with Paul Hollywood on Paul Hollywood's Pies and Puds. He came to visit us and said, we got a producer who said, oh, can you make desserts out of seaweed? And I said, of course you can. I hadn't actually thought about it that much before that point, but we managed to make some quite delicious products, including, that's really interesting about taste of seaweeds, which Zal will go into later. You can, because it's a flavour enhancer, it can go savoury or sweet. So for example, this one with what we made on Paul Hollywood's Pies and Puds was a apple crumble with the shoni, our seaweed blend in it, because it's got a very interesting flavour, and it's got the sugar kelp in it, which gives it that sweet or salty. This is interesting. Another thing that fascinated me at the start was the fact that all these seaweeds that you hear about in Japanese, we actually have pretty similar species, but we don't really know about it. So for instance, this is our equivalent of the wakame that you get in miso soup. This is Alaria esculenta, and this is another one that we actually have grown successfully on ropes in Scotland.
Sorry, what's the Latin name?
Alaria. This is a farming project we did with our holy grail, like the Welsh with the lava bread, was to figure out how to farm dulse, which is a red seaweed which is just an incredible taste. I absolutely love it. And so we got to Innovate UK. That's me with Lord de Morley, who was the DEFRA minister at the time. Visiting our seaweed farm, we were growing dulse in seawater tanks to try and grow it, which did work, but not well enough for it to be commercially viable. But so this is what we do. We go out on the lowest monthly tide, it's the full moon or the new moon, and we've got a full safety management system now from sea to shelf, so all our harvesters are going out in full safety gear. We have to know when they're going, what they're doing. It's very, very intricate now. This is a photo of our kombu, the big brown seaweed. We've hung this up to dry in the sun, and this is like traditionally how the Japanese would do this. So I was going to talk about this more later, but this white powder is not stuffing up your nose. This is actually umami powder, and if you dry one of the things we do in our production, when we're drying the seaweed, one of the things that we know why our seaweed is so premium and so tasty is we actually are drying it in order to develop that umami powder. So we're curing it so that it's like, laying away whiskey or whatever. It's getting that powder on it, so it's really the taste is just amazing. That's the red. This is this red seaweed dulse. That's it, fresh, dripping fresh. It's beautiful. That's me harvesting. These are two of our harvesters going out with all their full safety gear on. This here is sea lettuce, which is a bright green seaweed, which I think is on that related to. Well, that's not actually, that's another type of green seaweed.
There is some selection.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, there is. At the near end. Near to you.
Fiona, could you explain the difference between the green and the red?
Okay, right. So seaweeds, there's thousands of different seaweeds. None of them can poison you, which is wonderful. So it's not like mushrooms. So even if you picked any seaweed up, not picked it up off the beach, but if you picked it fresh off the beach, you're not going to die from it. They are. But obviously some are more tasty than others. And one of the things we do at Mara is we concentrate on the seaweeds that we know taste good. The ones that had a traditional use in cooking that we've looked back over our ancient path into. So they are really the ones that man would have been able to access. So that they grow in the intertidal zone. So the reason we're going down at the low monthly tide is this, we go way out to where below the low mean water tide mark, and all these amazing, it's like an undiscovered forest. It's just absolutely stunningly beautiful, and it's like a treasure trove. So there's three types. There's brown seaweeds, red seaweeds, and green seaweeds. The brown seaweeds grow the furthest out, they grow in deep water. So if you, even at the lowest monthly tides, they're getting wet. They're up to their waists, cutting, or higher, cutting the kelps. So the kelps are kombu, so they're big, long brown seaweeds. And then further up the beach you go, is where you get the red seaweeds. So dulse is a red seaweed, pepper dulse is a red seaweed. And there's thousands of other red seaweeds, but these are the ones that we use and are traditionally used in cuisine. And then the sea lettuce, the green seaweeds are the ones that you will probably have seen the most often because they are furthest up the beach. They're green, and the green ones require more sunlight, which is why they're green. They've got more vitamin C in them because they're green. So they're here, the red's here, and the browns are here. So, and then there's the rack species, the ones with the bobbly bits on that you slip on the beach, which grow quite far up the beach, and everyone commonly associates with seaweed. We don't touch those. They've still got amazing nutritional benefits, but the texture and the taste for us is not what we're looking for.
But they do have another.
They do. Sorry?
In your bar.
Oh yes, they do. You can put them in your bath. And actually, there is a Hebridean seaweed who sell Ascophyllum nidostrum, and they sell it for all sorts of different uses. But and they process it in vast quantity. But that's not what we're doing. This is Rory, our seaweeds manager. That's the sugar kelp. That's somewhere on the west coast, not quite sure where it is. I think off Eastdale somewhere. He's harvesting sugar kelp. These are not in any order. This is one of our finished products, which is here, which you'll all get some later. This is a furikake, which again is furikake is Japanese for rice seasoning. And what we were trying to do is bring the best of East and West together, because we do all hail to the Japanese, who we know absolutely treasure and love seaweed, and we would like to honour that tradition here in the UK and get everybody loving seaweed as much as the Japanese do. So this is our version of a furikake. This is our lovely Scottish freshly harvested dulse blended with sesames and chilli flakes. Oh, and that's that one there. There's a little bit of gratuitous marketing. Our smoked product, which you'll get a little taster of, that one, this is how far we've come from people thinking that seaweed was something that was just nothing ever ate, to this year 3 great taste stars for our smoked product, our smoked product. So it really shows you how things are changing, which is great. This is we actually just won another award this week for a khaki product in the Scotland Food and Drink Awards. So that's exciting. That was last year. Innovation Award for Best New Artisan Food. And this is also how far we've come. This is, we all get this lovely idea of us going out foraging and stuff, which is actually really how it all started, where we got the passion from, but actually selling food product into the modern marketplace this is where we are now. We now have a fully food safe, SALSA accredited factory on the outskirts of Edinburgh. So our seaweed is fully SALSA accredited from the moment we harvest it right through to what you see on the shelf, and we're the only people in the UK that can claim that, which I'm quite proud of that. It's taken a lot of work. So that's us packing in the factory. That's us blending. This is a famous shortbread that I was telling you about. So just this going on to some of the uses. That's in shortbread cakes. It's pretty amazing. Biscuits. That's dulse on a superfood salad. Escape. Okay, I'm trying to. Oh, here we go. This is what I wanted to show you. Now, Zara and I started on seaweed because we both cared about not only, food and taste and what we could get from the Britain's amazing natural larder, but the more we got into seaweed, the more for me, the nutritional benefits are something that really blow you away. And I know everyone here is into food and taste primarily, but just as majority of women in here, 2/3 of British women don't get enough iodine in their diet, which is a proven fact. World Health Organization since 1992 has been talking about iodine deficiency as a serious health problem. If women, when they're pregnant, if they're really seriously iodine deficient, it can lead to brain damage in their child. It's a really big deal. And it's really something that the British public has not really got to grips with yet. So look at 40 people in the room here, 30 of you probably, and it's really common iodine deficiency symptoms like just feeling tired and getting headaches. It's just because your thyroid, depression, weight gain or weight management issues, lack of energy, inability to concentrate. I think we can all probably point to those. And yes, there's maybe many other reasons, but a really easy way to try and help that is just to have seaweed in your diet. It's not just the iodine in there, it's the mix of minerals. There's all 56 minerals vital to human health are present in seaweed in very different quantities. So for example, this Shoney product, we've blended it with the health nutritional benefits in mind, so we know that a teaspoon of that a day is going to give you a daily dose of iodine. It's got iron, potassium, magnesium, calcium. It's pretty incredible, and they're micronutrients that are not present at that level, in that concentration in any other food. So it's a pretty incredible soup.
What are you suggesting?
Tables a day, keep the doctor away. Because the use for the reason we didn't sell seaweed in a big clump is because we figured that the Westerners would know what to do with it. So the product is actually, it's a seasoning, so you can just use it in anything. So
Too much.
you would, if you had a overactive thyroid, and you ate loads of seaweed every single meal, yes, you'd have too much. But it's so unlikely, because there's scientific evidence that shows if you eat too much iodine, if it's seaweed and not artificial iodine, that your body just, because it's natural and your body absorbs it, anything that you don't lose on it just, your body expels it. So, it's the thyroid. Your thyroid affects your whole metabolism. It's a really vital function. It's something that is really not that much known about. So that's very, very brief health thing. I'm happy to answer any more questions on that. This is just when we were talking about what we do to harvest. This is the level of detail we have to get down to. This is one of my harvester's checklist of all the about 30 things he has to go through before he even cuts a piece of seaweed. like what's the forecast, which way's the wind going, when's the low water, etc., etc.
How many harvests do you have?
Depends on the season. At the moment, we've got a group. Well, this is our hardcore group who are kelp harvesting, and then in the dull season, that's another amazing thing about seaweed. They're all seasonal. You can't get them all the year round. So it's just like any vegetable. So at the moment, we're harvesting the kelps, and we'll finish that in early June, and then they have a break, and then in the dull season, which starts end of August through to October, we'll probably have about 20 harvesters out on that particular stretch of coastline.
And what about pollution in the sea?
We don't, obviously it's something we keep an eye on, but we don't have we obviously would never harvest in a bit of sea which we knew was polluted. We choose our harvesting areas because they're pure and clear, and we apply the same standards that any person taking seafood out of the water applies. And then once it's out of the water, it's tested within an inch of its life, so it's incredibly safe. We're not just testing for the nutrients, we're testing for all sorts of different things, and with heavy metals, all sorts of things. So it's a very pure and safe, and very key, it's very safe product.
If someone was just walking on the beach,
If someone was just
what shouldn't they do?
Well, if you're walking on the beach, don't go down to the Docklands or something and start taking seaweed off the beach. I wouldn't recommend that. I would go to a place where you knew people already were harvesting lobsters or something like that, so that you know that you're in an area which is Class A or Class B waters. And don't just pick it off the beach. Know your tide times. Go out when the tide is low and cut the seaweed from the rocks. Don't pick it up floating out to the sea, because you don't know how long it's been there, how fresh it is, what's happened to it. So choose your location, choose your time, and
Is there a right way of cutting it so it will, you know?
we have a very
regenerate?
this is what another this is what's the most incredible thing about seaweed. It's the most sustainable crop you can get. Doesn't need any fertilizer. All it needs is seawater to survive. It's got a holdfast that anchors it to the rock, but it's not getting any nutrients out of that holdfast. That's just to anchor it. So you cut it, and we're doing various surveys, and we've been doing them for the last 5 years now. So we do quadrants, and we'll clear fell one particular small quadrant just to see what happens. You go back at the same time next season, it's completely back. There's actually some evidence that it's like coppicing. It actually encourages more growth. So
How do we know that we're not picking seaweed from somebody like you with the Crown authority to harvest?
Well, if you started putting it off the beach in that quantity, I would come with a shotgun there. But with harvesting for your own use, anyone can do that, even if it was on a licensed area. So if you're only collecting it for your own uses, then crack on. It wouldn't matter. Honestly, no one's going to bother. If you started commercially harvesting on somebody else's, then that would be illegal.
Are there maps to say where these
No, there aren't. Well, you could go to the Crown Estate and ask them where, if the place that you were wanting to harvest from was already licensed, and they would have to tell you. So that would be the thing to do.
Fiona, could you describe how you dry it and
Yes.
preserve it?
Yeah, so somewhere in this lot I've got some. So we bring it in so that these guys, as soon as they're off the beach, it gets put into, these are all locked into food safe bags, so that doesn't touch anything until it gets put straight into a van, comes to the factory, and then those get opened, and then within 24 hours.
How do you do it at home?
How do you do it at home? At home, anyone who's got depends on the species. If it's a big long kelp, put it on your washing line. Pray for a nice day. It's just like, you just have to treat it like laundry.
Do you need to wash it first before you fry it?
No, you don't need to wash it first. No.
I mean, just to desalinate it rather
To
than
desalinate it,
take the
not
salt out.
Yeah. I wouldn't. So desalinate, give it a quick wash to get the salt, the sand and any shells off. but don't soak it for hours because then all the nutrients will leach into the fresh water.
Would you use a low oven to dry it? I've done that.
Wouldn't recommend it because it will just go soggy. I would just use it like on an airing rack. If you've got a stove or somewhere you would an airing cupboard. The kelps are hang up with closed pegs. The rest of them the smaller ones put out on a drying rack and just leave them to dry. Just don't let them dry for too long. Have some heat source, and otherwise, if you let it dry too long, it really is going to start to deteriorate. You want to get it dry really quickly, within 24 hours.
Can you just snip it into a salad or something?
You
Like
can eat it
just
fresh,
take it
yeah.
off
You can take it off
You
the
have
beach.
to dry it before you can eat it.
No, you don't have to dry it. No,
So I
it's
could
just
eat that.
you could eat that. Of course, you can eat that. Yeah, absolutely.
Pickled or is that just
That's. I didn't bring that. It's just fresh off the beach today, correct? Yeah, from the Solent. And what's her name? Susan brought that. So we dry it because we believe that we've locked in the nutrients and the flavour, and actually when you go to use it, it's like using it fresh because as soon as it becomes rehydrated in food, it's fresher, fresh as if it's off the beach. So I think I've probably talked long enough. Does anyone have any more questions for me?
Do you harvest much larvae where you are?
No, we don't. We don't
have
touch.
larvae?
We do have it, but it is. We don't have it in vast quantities. We do have it, and then it tends to be full of. I can't guarantee that can sell in lava. It's not got sand in it because it's not grown.
It tends to grow on the intertidal.
Yeah, it's
so it will
intertidal,
dry out.
and it's too difficult.
Do you sell directly to chefs, or is what you produce now mainly for
So
product?
at the moment, what we do is we sell directly to chefs. We have food service products that we sell directly to chefs. So any of you, I'm happy to sell to you directly. We've got retail products. So, for example, these two these two are now on the shelves of Morrison's. So that's exciting. So that happened this year. So that's in Morrison's. We're also so we're selling direct to food service and into retail, and we're selling on our website. So we've got some samples here
So
for you.
when you sell to chefs, what do you sell?
What we're selling is we sell catering tubs, these ones too. So we're selling the flakes. So our product is flakes and powders. So that seaweed butter that you had, that's our flakes mixed into butter. So so that's where our thing that we've decided to specialise in is a product that's really easy to use. So you can use it in cooking in any way you want to use it.
And apart from Brett, who else is using it? Or is it usually it?
Who are our chef list?
Yeah.
We've got people like Three Chimneys, Michael Smith, Brett Graham, Nathan Outlaw. There's a whole bunch.
Sexy
Fish in London.
I think I had some of Robert Thompson's on the Isle of Wight.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, a
good.
couple of weeks ago. Yeah.
It's funny, people ask me to sell it, and often you don't know because it's gone through a distributor, and you're like, someone here said, oh, we got it in Planet Organic. Fantastic, we're in Planet Organic. So we've got some little samples for you, and I haven't handed them out before that because I didn't want you to start fiddling with them. So I'm going to hand over to Zara, because Zara and I did the first book, and then Zara's on this wonderful seaweed cookbook, and she's our Mara culinary advisor. And so she's going to, we've got some little test tubes in here, and what I recommend you do is lick your hand, put some powder, and put it in your mouth, lick it so that you get the taste right onto your tongue. But Zara's going to talk you through that. So I'm happy to answer any more questions either now or at the end, but otherwise I'll hand over to Zara.
I think that was a pretty comprehensive, but you lot are all interested in flavour, so these test tubes I think are a key thing to see what you think of the different flavours. I'll just wait for that. I just wanted to give you a little bit of background first before you open the test tubes, but I mean, I do think that like a little bit of a kind of taste journey, which does go way back, as Carrie was saying, way back to the Stone Age and beyond. And in passing, sort of 7th century Irish monks, I mean, it just paints a picture of them collecting dolls, and it was very much valued by them. I mean, it was valued as much as a cow for some people who had dolls on their rocks. So I think we have to hold that in our minds when we think of this extraordinarily rich set of plants, actually. And I think also, when we first started looking at the potential of using dried and ground seaweeds, it really struck me how it's like a new set of colours for a painter. I mean, it's sort of a new set of flavours that you can add into everyday foods. And Fiona and I would take our early samples we had of our dried ground seaweeds, we took them around to certain chefs. And I still remember Sam Clark at Morrow looking at the little bags we brought in. And he was really, really interested. He said, you know, this reminds me a bit of, you know, when I first got hold of, I don't know, harissa or, you know, preserved lemons or, you know, different flavours that he played around with. And we swapped various seaweeds for his treasures from his fridge. And I came back to Edinburgh really pleased. We were both thrilled. We had little bags of harissa. But equally, we had this extraordinary set of powders and grains, which you will try as we go through this list of what you've got in front of you. And I think what we've done is we've sort of isolated certain seaweeds that we thought had a certain criteria. We could harvest it and we could use it easily in food. So the ones that I'm really going to talk mainly about are kombu, which, as we discussed, was it's the huge green seaweeds that I don't think you've got. Yeah. Anyway, but this sort of type of thing. Is that kombu? It's a type of kombu, exactly. And there are very specific flavours, but I think in order to understand the flavours, I think we have to go right back to umami, because that's what all these seaweeds have in absolute spades. And Ikeda, who is a Japanese chemist in 1908, isolated the fact that kombu had more MSG than any other plant, I think, on Earth, actually, and he managed to copy it with the help of the Germans. He started to manufacture artificial MSG, and it's basically, you know, what we think of being not as pure a version as you find in seaweed. So we would encourage people to actually look at the really natural form of MSG, which is found in seaweed, and particularly in kombu. And I mean, I'm imagining you all know about umami, but I've been sort of, particularly with the cookbook, I kept coming back to the idea of what is umami and how is it affecting us. And I was really struck by the fact that really umami, it was so called, actually at Ikeda, I think they found a name to call this, let's call it MSG, and they had a much more user-friendly name for it, which is umami, which sort of means savoury deliciousness, tasty. And it is glutamate rich, so I think there's a taste receptor also on your tongue, but also in your stomach, which readies itself to receive this delicious protein. And so I think it sets off a chain reaction in your mind, thinking, wonderful, you know, I'm going to have lots of very comforting and delicious taste coming my way. So I think that, to me, something I hadn't quite realised was that these glutamates, or umami, are present in the amniotic fluid and also in breast milk. So it's something that's incredibly familiar to you, even if you don't know it. And so I did look long and hard at other foods that had umami in as well, because I think it works in a complementary fashion. If you have umami in seaweed, which you do more than any other food, you combine it with other foods that have umami in, and the list is quite extraordinary. I mean, I realised I had an awful lot of umami foods in my cupboard and my fridge without even realising. So, you know, olives, tomatoes, parmesan, spring onions, mackerel, sardines, cured meats. I said parmesan. I mean, I put a list down in the book because I was so struck by and mushrooms and soy. So it's all these wonderful flavours that really, really work well together. So I think when I was thinking about dulse, and when we first started trialling it and taking it to trade shows and things, we put basic complementary taste together. So tomatoes are good. You know, you dip a tomato into the dulse powder or the dulse flakes, and you get a bigger all-round taste. So later on we've got plates of food so you can try for yourselves. And I've tried to sort of group them into what I think work quite well as complementary tastes. So for dulse, I think we think red meats work really well with dulse, and that could be lamb. It's got quite a sort of anchovy type of flavour, which is a secret weapon in cooking. And a lot of chefs, I mean, I notice people like Jamie Oliver or Simon Hopkinson, I mean, they have, you know, almost books that just seem to the central ingredients are all the sort of tomatoes and anchovies and these foods that do all together produce a much bigger flavour. So the wonderful seaweeds that we've been dealing with, we have a blend, as Fiona was saying, Shoni, which has a mixture of red, brown and green seaweeds in, so it really is pretty versatile. So you're getting the best of all the umami flavours in here. So I think it's extremely versatile, that's what I say with this one. But to actually get the much more intense flavour, try kombu on its own. And in terms of what you compare it to, I mean, I've come up with words like earthy, herby, olivey, sweet. Obviously it's salty, but it has got this sweetness because they have natural sugars in. And so it works really well as a taste enhancer, which is what Fiona said. It could also be a sort of bouillon base, so it could go in quite early on, and obviously it is what makes up dashi stock. So it's this wonderful, light, minerally flavour. It's not nearly as heavy as you think, and so I'd urge people to try. I mean, we've got it in the brown form, but if you do find the whole leaf. Oh yes, okay, so get your kombu. Well done. Sorry, get your kombu flake or powder out. Just put a little bit onto your hand. And actually, it'd be interesting to see what adjectives people come up with, but there is this sort of the saltiness does give way to this sort of sweetness. And I'd love to know what people think. Have you all got? You've all got your little test tubes? Just put a little pinch on your hands and see what you think. Do you have got one?
Which one?
Oh, kombu. Yes, so, sorry, did everyone hear that? We're putting a little pinch of kombu. Oh, twist round. You don't overdo it, because I think with all these things you need to try. It's very, very salty. Yes, it is. It is. I mean, this actually, again, when we send the plates round, I put on the plates things like quail's eggs, because that is an alternative to the normal way of testing with salt. But it'd be interesting to see what you think with a seaweed instead of the salt. But it really is an incredible alternative, and it's low sodium. And salt is, as we know, extremely bad for us. So I mean, it really is an interesting alternative, and in cooking it adds that much more punch to your dishes. So I would the way that I was using it in its ground and powdered form was in certain sort of purees and things to give the puree a bit more punch, sort of whether it was watercress or kale, think of green purees, or even actually in a sort of cucumber soup or a creamy carrot, creamy carrot soup with this bringing in the salt. And actually it's very interesting to get the different tastes working together. And actually, I mean, I'm just thinking about the cucumber one. Cucumber obviously has, not the sort of very subtle, light taste. Let's say you put tarragon with it. This would be your sort of salt element, and it really does. It works really well with very ordinary vegetables that you would normally use seasonally. The smoked combo, you haven't. No, I'm getting onto dulse now. There is a smoked version of this as well, which is fantastic with sort of working with risottos or with seafood, with pasta, vongole, things like that, or even into curries and things. I mean, you can get into different strands of cooking, Middle Eastern or Asian, and sort of you're getting salt in that way. And some of the chefs that we work with were very keen on using seaweed instead of napa fish sauce because it has that sort of effect. So also surprisingly, we found, Fiona and I did a chocolate test, and we thought that actually combo worked really well with dark chocolate. So that's more sort of unusual, but actually it's because it's got that sweetness in it. So dulse, can you move on please to your dulse tube, which is the pinky one?
Then you've got the smoked, that's the smoked one.
The smoked one is obviously a much strong.
This is the one that won the 3 great tastes.
Yes, this one the three stars. Yes. Applewood. Applewood. So it'd be interesting to see what anyone thinks of the dulse. So this, I mean, again, adjectives I'm going to throw out there are anchovy, marmite, bacony, nutty, smoky. I'd love any more adjectives, but I mean, again, it has got this residual sweetness, which is the umami, which sort of, it's interesting because its taste changes. The aftertaste is very different to the initial taste.
I had a friend who told from Northern Ireland who said that they used to sell it dulse at fairs.
They did actually. I was going to bring in a tiny bit just because it amused Fiona and I of history of dulse, in as much as so it was valued very early on. Irish monks used to pick it and give it to the poor, make it in soup. More recently, on the east coast of Scotland, when the fishermen didn't bring in many fish, it was a pretty good substitute. They'd make a sort of lovely creamy soup with milk and dulse. And dulse and oatmeal and various different broths also have been quite a good enriching food. And when Fiona and I went foraging with this wonderful restaurateur on the east coast, she took us out picking dulse off the beach, and she actually picked it out of the water and put it into her mouth, and Fiona and I were quite surprised. This was a long time ago, because we didn't know you could just pick it and eat it straight away. And actually the taste was very surprising. It's actually quite a mild taste when you chew it, a bit like, it gets stronger as you chew it, but it's actually quite a sort of subtle taste that changes. And I think again that's the umami imparting flavour. And in the 19th century it was sold as a snack off barrows. I mean, we've seen an etching of barrows of seaweed, and you would sell a little poke of seaweed as a school snack, which I think is great as well.
Is it right that people had it on the bar as well?
Yes, exactly. On the East Coast, it was the perfect antioxidant bar snack, and it would allow you to then drink lots more beer. And actually, one of the recipes I think I liked most in the book, and it wasn't, I mean, it was it was very pure because it was using fresh seaweed, and people have asked about fresh seaweed. And it was Alaria, and it's drunk in Seoul in a drinking hole, it's a whiskey beer drinking hole. And they routinely have this soup as a sort of lovely mineral antioxidant soup that they actually also have in the drinking hole. And the stock is a sort of mushroomy stock, but the Alaria is actually chopped up finely into the soup. It's I think Madda Jaffrey found that recipe. She was given it in her lovely World Vegetarian Cookbook, and it's, again, very interesting. And because, from a vegetarian point of view, seaweed offers a whole different range of tastes for people who maybe have more limited taste, often do. So that lovely seaweed that we're tasting now, I mean, a way that I think it makes it much more versatile is using it as a sort of dry seasoning. And think for marinade and using it with other land herbs. So if I was seasoning some lamb, I really would put it with rosemary and some garlic and things like that to push the taste further. And the taste of the meat, you actually wouldn't be able to taste the dulse necessarily, but you would have this wonderful, rich, meaty gravy and texture and an all-round much better taste. Equally, it works with beef, I think, dulse, and you can mix it with, for example, I had it one way which I really liked, which was actually it was very rare beef. It was marinated. This time basically it was a soy sauce and dulse and olive oil marinade. It was really good. It was barely cooked. And again, you wouldn't say it was necessarily a fishy taste. It was this sort of rich, umami, savoury taste. Again, thinking more of the summer, I think toasting dulse, it takes on a slightly different flavour, it's more nutty. And you could mix it with other things, chili or seeds, nuts, ground up hazelnuts. And also this way it easily could go into sweet usage as well as a topping. And in fact, this is a savoury topping, but as Fiona said, it can also go on sweet with oatmeal and things. And I think that's really what I would say is that open your mind to lots of different possibilities of mixing different sweet and savoury tastes with this seaweed. Because I think it's fun to play around with. I think that's the main thing is we wanted to provide a sort of starting point where people can, they can cut it with other herbs or chili or citrus or Middle Eastern spices. I think that makes it so much more versatile. So I think that was really all I wanted to say. There are very specific tastes of other seaweeds. Yes, I could go through some of the other seaweeds. Oh yes, the shoni is the blend. Sorry, let's have a try back. So that is the blend of the green, the brown and the red seaweed. And it completely is our baby because we mixed it and we loved that it was named after this Galician sea god. So it really is something that we spent a long time trying to get sort of balance of taste. And it's a good entry point of sort of just trying it, and even trying it on a salad of sort of avocados, tomatoes, eggs. It could just be scattered lightly and then, sort of onto your avocado, squeeze lemon juice or something, and you've got something not just salty, but also, the richness and taste of this. Well, actually, I was going to mention bacon. Sorry, I sort of skipped over bacon a bit. Kombu, I think, is really interesting. Things like pizza bases and flatbreads, but equally dulse is very good. That can go into bread. Dulse. Yes, anything because, for example, a sort of smoked salmon bagel with dulse, it would just be delicious. That's the thing, it does work really well with bacon. And the other thing is, it's worth mentioning, isn't it, the fullness sort of trick it plays on you. It's a study that was done at Newcastle, wasn't it? They did a control sample anyway, and they made different types of bread. Some had seaweed and some didn't. People tended to feel fuller after the bread that had seaweed in it quicker, so it tells you you've received more food than you actually have. So I think for the future it's quite an interesting food for dieting things. Yes.
If you were using the seaweed to season a steak, for example, would
Yes.
you recommend putting it on before or after?
I think, I mean, it's interesting. So the dulse butters could be melted on, I think, just before the steak has finished cooking. That's what I would do, so you don't overcook it, because there is a sort of bitterness.
You really want to scorch it.
You don't want to. No, exactly. That's when I would put it on at a later stage and get that sort of freshness and taste.
Do any of the seaweeds imitate agar?
They've all got
Gelatinous.
they've all got alginate in them. So the agar is used as a thickening agent in the food industry.
But we don't use carrageen. That's the other one, and that's a
But they're all, you'll notice all of them, they've all got the high level of alginate and fibre in them. So when you rehydrate them, the alginate, so they all act as thickeners as well. So they're all, they are natural thickeners into sauces and stuff. So you can put that kombu powder in a sauce and it would actually, instead of flour, for example, and it actually thickens sauces.
I think it's just sort of, in terms of the balance, I think you have to, it's better to start off experimenting with quantity, because that's the main thing is people say, you know, how much. At least, you know, put the same amount that they say salt, and I would say and more is being
Way
salt.
more, way more.
And way more. Because actually it's 7 times less salty than salt, so you need much more to get the same salt effect. And I think it is really interesting that the sweet iteration of using seaweed, I mean, I put a strawberry onto the plates just to see what you think of trying maybe dulse with strawberry, and that equally you could try to make a syrup or some, you know, sort of some natural sugars and things, which actually it already has sugar in, so it just pushes it to the other side. I read a really interesting recipe where also this is sea spaghetti, which actually does grow like that, and it looks like it sounds, and it was a candied sea spaghetti recipe, which it had been candied, it had been marinated in alcohol and then put into, I think, the Christmas pudding. I thought that was really interesting. So I think, you know, if you've got...
Sorry, what is the Latin name for the...
This, Himantalia? Elongata? Yeah.
Okay.
So I think it's really about being bold with seaweed, and I think the way that we've sort of turned them into powders and grains, I think you are scooping in spoonfuls into stews and ham. I mean, I tend to cook a fair bit of red meat because I've got 3 boys. They are not all going to be passed on with vegetarian food. I put it into my hamburgers, my mince, just the normal places that you would, you know, pasta sauces with lots of tomatoes and mushrooms and things. Dulse goes really well. So hopefully with the tasting you'll develop your own ideas of how they work. But I think it's keeping in your head all the different umami foods that work well together, and that's sort of, I think, how the seaweeds work best, is complementary tastes. And you know, also thinking a bit laterally, for example, you know, curing mackerel with kombu powder, perfect. I mean, I tried some mackerel cured with kombu, and it sort of felt the right thing to do. And I think, you know, that goes back to traditions in Norway where they used to hang their fish up wrapped in seaweed and things. So I think, you know, there's some, it's rooted in some very proper.
The sushi,
Yes.
the original flavour from Osaka It's muck oil. Marinated muck oil. Marinated in very, very sort of thin white kombu sheet.
Yes, you see,
Yeah.
delicious.
And it used to be the best-selling item, you know, for any Japanese people traveling abroad because they get homesick. This is before the sushi became available.
So I've
Yes.
got some platters next
Exactly,
door.
so I think now over to you.
Well, I think
Yeah.
probably, should we, because I think what we'll do, because there's not much circulation space in here.
Yeah.
We'll get Kimiko to talk
And I can hand
now.
out food.
Or people can go next door.
Okay.
And then gather
Okay.
around. And there'll be some wine and some canapé salad as well.
And I think it's all these flavours are here to discover. That's the most
One
exciting
thing, in your little bag of samples, I'm not doing a sales pitch, but if you want any more products, want to know where to get it, there's a 20% voucher in here. And you put the code in off our website, and all the products we talked about, you can get them in any quantity that you want. So just thank you.